Welcome to Swanzey Then and Now. Today's host is me, Jody Turner, and Lee Dunham. Thank you, Lee, for joining me again.
Welcome again.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. You just have so much information to share that I'm sure that people come up to you all the time and ask questions. But today our topic is going to be the 1938 hurricane. And I'm from Keene originally, which I'll say back and forth in all of these shows. And for some reason, I thought that the hurricane only happened in Keene because that's all I've ever heard about. I've seen all the trees that fell down and all the buildings and all of this stuff. But I never realized that, or just didn't think about it, that things happened in Swanzey.
Oh, yeah. In my lifetime, when I was growing up, if you went down Sawyer's Crossing Road where I lived, or have lived all my life, the places where there weren't trees, those went down in 38.
So there were trees, pine trees all along there?
Yeah.
So the big trees, were those down?
Oh, yes.
And those are from 1938 then when they got replanted or something?
In my youth, in the 60s when you went down there, the ones that were missing all went down in 38. Now a lot of people have removed theirs.
Right.
I did mine.
Yeah. Well, they can be kind of dangerous. There have been a couple of houses that have had trees falling on them and stuff too. And it just seems like there's more and more trees falling all the time, so people do have to be careful anyway. So, okay, so what we are going to talk about today is the hurricane. And we're going to go from, we're going to go from Swansea Center to the Crescent Bridge, which looks like it was going to float away. And then we're going to go to Swansea Lake. And then we're going to finish off with West Swansea. And Lee, I've got to tell you, some people stopped me a few days ago and said that they had seen our show and they were from West Swansea and they want to see more about West Swansea.
And we will have a lot more.
Yeah.
I also know, I've heard it's being seen in Oregon. It's being seen in Maryland by my son. So
That's great. Because, people come and go. They've lived here, for generations, or they've moved here and then they go on with their lives. But it's always nice to see that people are still thinking about us here in Swansea.
Oh yeah, they it's like the old Homestead play. It was about a play about your home.
Right.
And people love their childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we get to our age, we think about it a lot more than when we were 30 and having our kids and we were really busy. So, okay, show is about the hurricane. So let's start with some photographs. And I know that some of these are personal photographs of you and your family, or not you, but your family and some of the areas.
I wasn't alive.
Okay, so this is...
that is Sawyer's Crossing Road. Just toward the center from my house. The house that you can see, I believe, is...
Is that still there?
Yes, it is.
I know exactly which one that is.
Talbot's house, but it's...
But it's back away from the road, and if you're going towards Swansea Center, it's on the right-hand side.
Yeah. Now, if you see the bicycle there...
Oh, yeah, right in the center there, right?
That's my father.
Wow.
He would have been 12 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, what better thing to have happen at a 12-year-old to...
Totally.
A hurricane, and you get to go explore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's him again on top of one of the logs.
Oh, my gosh.
And I think that is Barbara Dunham next to him. So.
Yeah. All right. So what's the thing with the pig?
The story about this is what happens when
the animals get out.
Fences go down and whatever.
Yeah.
Pig ran around for weeks after the hurricane.
Yeah.
So there's a picture of it.
Yeah.
That is looking down toward the covered bridge. Well, you wouldn't see the covered bridge because of the corner, but that's from about where you were before, looking down past my house.
Okay. And so I think those, if we could just back up one more time, those houses are still there. Aren't those the houses that are there too?
Most all the houses are still there, yes.
Yeah.
The next one, there's a little arrow there.
Oh,
and that shows you where I live today. My grandparents bought the house.
Let's go back a little bit. Okay. So there's a house back there?
There's a house back there behind the tree. That tree is still there. That one tree to the right of that, that's the only one that's still there.
Wow. Because you guys do have a lot of huge trees on that road.
Yeah, the story is one of our ministers back in the day planted all those down the street.
Really? Yeah, because they were cheap?
Well,
because they grew well. We have sandy soil.
Keene planted elms, and that didn't do so well.
We did pine trees.
We did pine trees.
Yeah.
They grow fast.
They do. Yeah. Okay. Next photo.
Now that is another picture looking down toward the Sawyer's Crossing Bridge.
Okay.
It's off the road a little ways. The house is the neighbor's house to me.
Yeah.
So that's where Barry Faulkner lives right now.
Ah.
Then it was the Goodales.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
that picture I got from the museum,
Okay.
and that shows you Sawyer's Crossing Road toward the town hall. So toward,
Now, is that
toward the
before?
triangle, yeah.
Is that before? Because it
No,
looks pretty
that is
clean.
afterwards. Now, what
Oh,
you
okay.
have to understand is, if you saw the other pictures, the road, is at a 90-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
So here you didn't have as much damage with trees across the road. But on my end, all the trees went from east to west.
Right.
They fell down from the east side of the road over toward the west.
Right.
That's what the wind was that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Wow. That
And
was,
they missed all the houses on that side of the road. Now,
boy, were they lucky.
They were
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah. Okay, here we are now at Crescent Bridge.
That is Crescent Bridge with the water
And
right up to the floor.
That is incredible. I mean, because I've seen the water when it's high now, and I think that's high, but I can't imagine. I mean, that whole area, because that's near Matthews Road,
Right.
that whole area had to have been flooded. The fields,
On
everything.
the other side of the road, yes.
Yeah, yeah, because, and that's
west
where the
side.
trains, not the trains didn't go through that bridge, but the trains had to pass through that area. The water must have been right up to the edge of where the trains would have traveled.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah.
I don't have any picture of the end. That's looking down the side of it, so you
Right.
can see the water is
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Now, do you remember if there was any damage when they had this happen?
I do not believe there was.
Yeah.
I think Keene lost a bridge or maybe two, but we didn't lose any. We
Yeah.
still had those 4 bridges, actually
Wow.
5 bridges
Yeah.
were way back. But
Well, it's funny with the water because I was reading up on the hurricane and it said that we didn't really get that much rain.
no, we didn't.
But-
Peterborough actually got more rain than we did.
Right, right. But we must have had with the Ashwillet, it must have been all the rain flow into the Ashwillet that
Yeah.
led it to being so high because that's just incredible. But we've even recently we've had some strong winds
Yeah.
coming through. Even in my backyard, we had 3 or 4 large trees. You could see where the microburst just came right through and took everything out. So I can imagine what this must have been like during the hurricane.
Yeah, it was townwide, not just,
Right.
just in one little location.
Yep,
So.
yep. Okay, so now we're going to go to Swanzey Lake.
That is Swanzey Lake.
Okay.
That right here, we're looking sort of, Richardson Park would be off, I believe, on our right in this picture. but
Okay.
You're seeing sort of where it's a campground at this point. And actually, the next picture, I think, shows
Let's
it better.
stay on this picture for just a moment, though. The logs that are down,
Yep.
is that the way they were, or was that after the hurricane?
Looks like
'Cause it
I'm
looks
seeing
kinda
cut-
organized.
I'm seeing that these are cut up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it looks like maybe they were set up that way, and maybe that's the way it was.
Yeah.
Maybe beforehand, and then after.
now
Lots of water.
this, the building that you can see in the background, sort of to the left center,
Yeah.
that is Swanzey Lake Campground's store and,
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah.
At that point, it's a boys' camp. The boathouse is no longer there
Right.
that you can see. But pretty much the hurricane of 38 put that boys' camp out. They did not come back. And then it becomes Swanzey Lake Campground. So
So they just cleaned everything up and let people come in.
uh,
Yeah. There were so many camps on that lake. It's incredible.
there is the entrance to
To
Richardson,
Richardson Park. Yeah.
You would park just beyond that archway.
Right. Right.
And you don't see a parking lot or anything there. at
Let
this
me
point.
ask you, when did they take that down?
I don't know.
Because
I've
I don't know if I
asked-
remember that, because we used to go there as a kid. We'd go
Yeah.
swimming there, and I don't remember seeing that, but
I think in the earliest days I remember seeing it.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
hard
got to
to
be
remember.
early 60s or something
Yeah.
that it went down.
yeah.
Probably, I mean, we had an archway over the cemetery
Yeah.
in Swansea Center, and a truck took that down in the 70s, so, or 60s, late 60s. So
Yeah.
probably this suffered the same sort of
Yeah.
fate.
Okay. So back to that picture. So this is after the hurricane, and the roots are taken right out of the ground, it looks like, on the
Oh, yeah.
right-hand side
Yeah.
there. So, I used to love Richardson Park. My memory of Richardson Park was we would go there and my mom would have to get a frozen Zero bar every time she went to the food stand, or and we'd have to wait a half an hour before we went into the lake to go swimming. And okay, and let's see another photo. Okay, so
See the big
is that the rock that's there?
That's the big rock.
Oh,
there.
I remember that.
And that shows you across the way.
Yeah.
And there was damage on the west shore also.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
Not-
imagine.
not
Because,
just
well,
the
look at the
shore.
way the trees fell.
Yeah.
So that the trees probably fell towards the road on the other side. Maybe the cottages didn't fare too badly on that one. But I love, these are all memories. I hope people get a chance to go out to Richardson Park this
This
year.
again is Richardson Park,
Yeah.
probably somewhere in the area of the parking lot that's
Yeah.
there today, looking down toward the north end of the lake.
Right, yeah. Wow. And what did they do with all these logs?
Well, we'll talk about the CCC camp
Well,
later.
okay, yep.
But somebody had to cut it all up.
Yeah, yeah.
And the story goes, a lot of it was floated into the lakes to preserve them.
Right.
And then they'd all be coming out.
Yeah.
And amazingly enough, they all went to pulpwood for the most part to make paper.
Yeah.
We had paper mills.
We had paper mills?
Oh, not in Swansea, but
Okay. 'Cause Lebanon or-
Bennington, New Hampshire.
Oh,
I
yeah?
think they might have had a paper mill,
Uh-huh.
but Maine had one.
Yeah.
Up by Fort Ticonderoga, there was
So
one.
maybe we made some
Berlin,
money
New
off this
Hampshire.
hurricane.
Well, here's the story. You know how many years after the hurricane they were still using that lumber?
A long time.
9 years. It took them 9 years to go
Wow.
through it.
That's a lot of lumber. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so
There
still at
is
Richardson
the
Park.
pavilion.
There's the pavilion, yeah.
So there's the answer
But it
to
doesn't
the-
look much like that anymore.
Yeah, it's like a.
Is it the
boarded
same
up
building?
windows.
And did they
Yes.
just move on,
Yeah.
do additions on it? Yeah?
Yeah, that's the
Because
same
just
building.
walking, if you can picture it, if you've been ever to Richardson Park, you're walking right down the
Yeah.
paved area, down to the beach area.
Yeah.
And seriously, I want to see more people out there because nobody ever goes to Richardson Park anymore. When I was little, that's where everybody went. It was just,
Yeah, well, everybody's got pools
I
nowadays.
know, but it's Richardson Park.
Back then, nobody had a pool.
I know. I used to get crawfish there too. Okay,
Now
What
we've
is this?
gone to West Swansea.
okay. Oh, boy.
And this is taken from the bridge. The bridge, you're looking at a walkway.
Yeah.
Which side of the bridge are you on in this time? You're looking south. This is the south walkway, which is no longer there.
Oh, right.
It was taken away in the 40s
Yeah.
when they expanded the mill out
Right,
to the
right.
road. But that building you see on the left, that is, I believe, a box shop or a pail shop or something that was on the, right on the river at this point.
So that would be in back of where the fire station is,
Yeah,
kind of?
yep.
Okay. And
Yeah,
again, remember that
and
we're
you're
in West
looking at
Swansea here.
The dam is
Right.
sort of there in the middle, too.
Right. Yep. Just on the edge there where it's kind of bubbly. That would be the dam, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so then you'd have the mill.
The water was pretty much, there was no dam at that point. It was
Right,
just
just
going-
flat over, yeah. But over to the right-hand side would be where the mill was.
The homestead woolen.
Was there any problems with the mill?
They had water in it.
Yeah, yeah. And that happens. I'm sure that wasn't the first time.
No,
being so close
there were
to it.
several floods before this. I think 35 and 36, there were floods.
Mm-hmm.
Keene and Swansea suffered that. We hadn't had the Surrey Mountain Dam and Otterbrook Dam
Right.
yet. So
And if you talk to Maury Whitney, those
Yeah.
have really made a huge difference. Okay, let's look at another photo. Okay, so this is still in West Swansea. Is that the mill there?
yeah, you're looking out across the river toward the mill on the west side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looks a lot different at this point.
Yeah, it looks tiny.
Yeah, yes, it was.
Yeah,
Compared to what was
Right.
there. Again, you're looking at that mill across the street, or across the river.
yeah.
That's a different picture of it. And the water is pretty much right up to that first floor.
Yeah, that's incredible. Okay, let's see, what do we see here?
This is, the title on this is Road to Swansea.
Uh-huh.
I want to find this house. I think it might be still around, but
Road to
I haven't been able to do that yet.
So, let's see, what is
But
the
you
house,
see,
you think?
the road is completely blocked with a tree across
Right,
it. So.
right. Okay, we have we
That's-
have like 5 more photos.
Yeah, and that's the house itself. That's another
That's the
picture.
house that was in the other
Right.
photograph?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just
Gosh.
moved to the right.
I wish I could see them closer so that I could figure out.
I had to put this one in.
Okay.
This comes from the museum. Arthur Wickham was out there.
That's Arthur Wickham?
That's Arthur Wickham's shovel.
Isn't that funny to see what they used to look
And
like?
from the angle of this, it's taken from either a roof or a steeple. So it's someplace in West Swansea, and there's another photograph of the shovel. And we know there's a sidewalk, so we know we're in West Swansea.
Yeah.
Whether it's Wickham Hall, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it more looks like it's maybe somewhere around the mill, and they're up on the mill roof. That's what I think it is.
Yeah. And
That's the other shot.
That's the other shot.
That's the other shot. But
Yeah.
you can't see that it's Arthur.
But there's cars in the back there, so that I think that does look like West Swansea downtown.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have this feeling, but. And are those tracks or are those tracks from the bulldozer?
Those are tracks. The ones you see to the right.
Yeah.
Those are tracks. That's the way the
trolley.
Where it came in. No.
That's those tracks from that
tracked up the lawn.
Yeah.
And if you look real hard, it's hard to see on this one, but he's sitting on wood, so. So he doesn't sink in.
Right.
That picture right there, I'm going to tell you, it's from Franklin Mountain is on the left.
Okay, let's take a couple of minutes on this because I feel like I don't know where this is.
Well, if I put you on Homestead Ave, which is now called Holbrook Ave, do you know where the Sumner Brown farm is?
I don't.
Where Dora Fitzgerald lived.
Sounds like.
Well, yeah. Well, it's also where the Browns. Sumner Brown, Barbara Brown. It's the Brown farm.
Yeah.
West Swansea people will get this.
Yeah.
But as you look out across the field, there's horses there still today.
Oh,
I
think I do know where. Yeah. Okay.
That's looking across the river,
right?
Which you don't really notice the river now.
Exactly.
But you see the
it looks like
there.
a field, but you don't see the river. Yeah.
So in the backside, on the other side of the river, you would be looking over to where. What's the pizza place?
Angie's.
Angie's Pizza.
The back.
You'd be looking over at the back.
Towards the softy place and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Route 10. Okay, I think we have one more photo. All right. Yale Forest. Oh my gosh. Yale Forest.
It just says Yale Forest. I don't know where it is in Yale Forest, but just imagine Yale Forest did not look really good.
No, but sometimes these things happen for a reason. No, I'm not saying that the hurricane was good, but look at how open or how it got rid of some of the bad trees that needed to be taken down probably and let some of the younger trees live. Look back at Mount Caesar.
Yeah.
Remember the photos that we saw where there was no trees on it?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened during the hurricane for Mount Caesar, but
yeah, I've never seen a picture of
that.
that.
It just seems to me like I see more and more trees that need to come down lately. And I'm not saying I want to see something happen, but some of the trees do need to be taken care of. Even on some of the back trails or along the railroad bed. Yeah. Back when the train was there, all those trees were away from the railroad bed. Now everything is encroaching on the bed, and I'm seeing a lot of trees that have fallen or decayed or, and they're big trees.
Yeah.
So maybe the town of Swansea should take those out and get some money for it.
But we've had, over the course of my time with Public Works, any number of storms come through and there's always something that happens.
Right.
But we're seeing a lot of trees break about 10 to 15 feet high now.
Exactly. What is the reason?
They don't look bad.
No.
But they have rot inside them that you just don't know is there.
Yeah, because that it's surprising to me. I'd just like to learn more on what is going on because I see a lot of trees that are just broken off like a matchstick. So yeah. All right. Well, that is all the photos we have.
All the photos?
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is talk a little bit more about any of the other areas that we didn't touch on with photos. Are there any other places where you remember anything happening during the hurricane? Maybe Wilson Pond or any of the other waters?
I don't know of it. I'm sure if anything bad happened, we would know about it.
Well, you know what, Lee, maybe there's somebody out there that knows more than we do.
And I'm sure there is.
Wouldn't
And
it be
then
cool to have them let us know? Yeah.
This is another cool thing.
Yeah.
Back in those days, it was more common for people to do daily diaries. And if you ever run across a diary that is a 1938, go to September 20th, 21st. That's when the hurricane happened. And you will, I'm sure, because this happened to me, is my wife's grandfather, lived in Harrisville. The neat story there is my great-grandfather sold her grandfather his land, his farm. But that's another story. But on one of the family occasions, one of the aunts came in and said, "Here, look at these things that we have from Grandpa." And it's diaries. And I said, "Well, what years you got?"
Wow.
She says 1938. I said, "Give me that one."
Yeah.
So I opened it up to September 20th.
Yep.
And we had a hurricane.
You better hurry into the house or down into the shelter because...
But you're going to find that kind of stuff out. I mean, a lot of times diaries are pretty bland and very boring to read, but if you know what you're looking for, what days to look for, it gets interesting.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, there was something that popped into my head. I'm going to lose it now. But you know, like there are so many other stories about things that happened during the hurricane. And, you know, people, you know, activities that people have had over the years or catastrophes or, you know, I'm not so much interested in, you know, like fires, but natural disasters in many, you know, like if it was a lightning storm or, you know, the lightning hit the barn and it burned down the barn and, you know, like we had these kinds of things happen, I'm sure, quite often.
I mean, we seem to luck out. Peterborough lost quite a few buildings in the
Yeah, it was huge in Peterborough. So. Yeah. Well, I remember talking with someone, Don Carlisle.
Carl,
And Don was talking with me about Keene State College because he was at Keene State College with his family. His family owned or had a house there.
They had a house there.
Yep. Yeah. And he was talking about how his father told them to watch out for things, that there was something coming on because the sky was looking odd. It was got this yellow glow kind of.
What time did it happen? It didn't happen here until about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it was late. Yeah. So everybody was getting out of work and they were able to get home. I think he said too. These things are just popping back into my head from things that he said. But he said how important it was that his father told him to get into the house, and that his father had stockpiled a whole bunch of candles. And so when everybody needed candles and the electricity was out, he was able to provide candlelight for, you know, a lot of the people in the area. So, yeah. Let's see. So, you know, I've run into people now that have started to see the show, which I'm really excited about, because this is about you and our community, and Lee and I are just a way of getting this started. It's not about us. It's about our love and our passion for our community.
You know, there's so many stories out there that are left untold, and I just love to hear people talk about them. And I just, you know, a lot of things that I'm telling you is stuff that I've heard, not that I've experienced.
Right.
I'm only 60, so there are older people out there.
And we'd love to hear
and
from
we'd
them.
love to hear, you know, those stories.
Yeah, because we live in a small community, and you know, it's wide, but it's a small community. So, in another show, I've got a 200th anniversary program, but I have a poem that I want to read, and I think people might enjoy it. I like to live in a town where the trees meet over the street, and you wave your hand and say hello to everyone you meet. I feel like this is a Hallmark card. For the life is interwoven with the friends you learn to know, and you feel their joys and sorrows as they daily come and go. So I'm glad to live in a little town, and I care no more to roam. This is from Old Homestead. For every house in a little town is more than a house, it's a home.
So come again next July. No.
And let's ring the bell and
let the Scarlet Runners chase you back to childhood.
Right. So. Yeah, I mean, we have so many stories left to share. You know, I've started writing down a few things, but that will be in another show. So thank you for joining us today with Swanzey Then and Now. Thank you, Lee. And we'll see you again soon.